Stop sending hi, how are you? Say this and watch them go crazy for you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something we've all experienced. You open your phone, see a message notification, and there it is. Hi, how are you? Bland, predictable, forgettable. Now, I'm not saying pleasantries are bad, but if that's your opener, if that's how you start a connection, then you've just missed your chance to stand out in a world drowning in sameness. Here's the truths. People are craving connection, but they're not looking for surface level chit-chat. They're looking for depth, for energy, for someone who knows how to break through the noise. And today, I'm going to teach you how to do just that. First impressions matter. When you open your mouth or send that first message, you're painting a picture of who you are. Imagine walking into a room and saying nothing but hi. You're handing over the brush and saying, paint me however you want. But if you start with intention, with a spark, you control the narrative. You set the stage. Don't just ask, how are you? Instead, say something like, I just read something that made me think of you. Or, I have an idea that I know you'll love. Now, you've opened a door to curiosity. People lean in when they sense there's more to you than meets the eye. This is the power of curiosity. Curiosity is like a magnet. It pulls people in. If you want to grab someone's attention, ask them a question that makes them think. Not how's your day, but what's the most exciting thing that's happened to you this week? Not what's up, but what's one thing you're working on right now that you're passionate about? When you ask these kinds of questions, you're telling people, I see you, I care about what lights you up. And that, my friends, is irresistible. Unleashing emotional connection. People remember how you make them feel, not what you say. So your goal isn't just to talk, it's to create a moment. Share a personal story. Give them a compliment that shows you've been paying attention. Or simply express genuine excitement about their ideas. You see, when you connect emotionally, you're no longer just a name on their contact list, you're someone who matters, someone who makes them feel alive. The art of being different. Most people live in autopilot. They send the same messages, have the same conversations, and wonder why nothing changes. If you want to create impact, you have to disrupt that pattern. Be bold, be playful. Send a voice note instead of a text. Share an insightful quote and ask, what do you think about this? It's not about being loud or flashy. It's about showing that you're thinking differently, that you're willing to break the mold. Value before pleasantries. If you want to be unforgettable, lead with value. Offer a solution to a problem they're facing. Share a resource they might find helpful. Even a simple, I thought of this and I think it could benefit you, is enough to shift the dynamic. Suddenly, you're not just a person who wants something, you're a person who gives something. And here's the kicker. When you lead with value, you position yourself as someone worth investing in. People don't forget that. Build a magnetic energy. Finally, let's talk about energy. The way you communicate isn't just about words, it's about the vibe you bring. Are you enthusiastic? Are you genuinely curious? Are you lighting up the conversation, or are you dimming the room? When you show up with energy, when your words come alive, you create an experience people want to return to. They don't just reply to your message, they anticipate it. Conclusion. So stop sending, hi, how are you? Stop blending into the background. Start leading with curiosity, connection, and value. Stand out, be different. And watch as people begin to respond to you with excitement, with enthusiasm, with energy that matches your own. Because in the end, communication isn't just about what you say, it's about how you make people feel. And when you master this, you don't just have conversations, you create transformations. So go out there and make your words count. The world is waiting for you. When you initiate a conversation, you're not just saying words, you're setting the tone for how someone perceives you. Think of your first message or statement as the opening scene of a movie. If it doesn't captivate the audience immediately, they'll mentally check out, even if the rest of the story is good. That's the power of first impressions. Every word you say creates a ripple effect, defining whether someone leans in with interest or scrolls past without a second thought. Imagine this. Someone receives a message from you. They're busy, distracted, maybe even overwhelmed by the sheer number of interactions they deal with every day. What makes them stop, focus, and choose to engage with you over everything else competing for their attention? The answer lies in the quality and creativity of your opening. If your message is generic, something they've seen and heard 1,000 times, it's likely to get lumped into the mental category of low priority. On the other hand, if you spark curiosity, evoke emotion, or deliver something unexpected, you immediately stand out. And in today's fast-pacing world, standing out is everything. Think about this in practical terms. Instead of starting a conversation with, "Hi, how are you?" a phrase so overused it's practically invisible, imagine leading with something that makes the person pause and think. For instance, you could say, "I just came across something that reminded me of you. Do you have a minute to hear it?" Or, "What's the most exciting thing happening in your life right now?" These types of openers do two things. They intrigue the other person, and curiosity is one of the most powerful tools in human interaction. It's like a magnet. It draws people in, creates intrigue, and opens the door for meaningful connection. When you engage someone's curiosity, you move beyond surface level exchanges and into a space where real conversations can happen. The key to unlocking this dynamic lies in asking the right questions, ones that make people pause, reflect, and feel genuinely excited to respond. Ones that make people pause, reflect, and feel genuinely excited to respond. Most people default to standard questions like, "How are you?" or "What's up?" While these are polite, they're also predictable and rarely lead to memorable exchanges. On the other hand, when you ask questions that dig a little deeper, you immediately change the game. For example, instead of "How's your day going?" you might ask, "What's the most interesting thing you've learned today?" Instead of "What's new?" you could ask, "If you had to describe your week as a movie, what would the title be?" These questions stand out because they challenge the other person to think creatively and offer a response that's uniquely their own. Curiosity also sends a powerful message. It tells the other person that you care about them as an individual. When you ask thoughtful, engaging questions, you're saying, "I see you, and I want to know more about your world." This is an incredibly disarming approach because people are hardwired to respond positively to those who show genuine interest in them. The truth is, everyone loves to feel heard and valued, and curiosity creates a natural pathway for this. Another benefit of leading with curiosity is that it shifts the focus away from you and onto the other person. This is important because the best conversations aren't about impressing someone with how much you know or have done. They're about creating a space where the other person feels comfortable, inspired, and eager to share. When you lead with curiosity, you're giving them the gift of being seen, and that alone can make you unforgettable. It's also worth noting that curiosity breeds energy. When you ask questions that excite someone, their energy changes. They become more animated, more open, and more engaged. This creates a feedback loop because their excitement feeds your own, and suddenly what started as a simple conversation becomes a dynamic exchange filled with possibilities. So, curiosity doesn't just create connections, it deepens them. When you take the time to understand someone's experiences, perspectives, and passions, you're building a bridge to something much greater than small talk. You're creating a foundation for trust, understanding, and even collaboration. People remember how you make them feel, and nothing feels better than being genuinely understood. So in every interaction, let curiosity be your guide. Approach each conversation as an opportunity to discover something new, to uncover hidden stories, and to connect in a way that leaves both of you better for it. By doing so, you don't just communicate, you create magic. Emotional connection is the heartbeat of every meaningful interaction. It's not just about exchanging words. It's about creating moments that resonate on a deeper level. People may forget what you say, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. This is why your goal in any communication, whether in person, over text, or on a call, should be to spark a genuine emotional connection. To create this connection, you must first be willing to step into vulnerability. It's not about oversharing or being overly dramatic. It's about authenticity. Sharing a small personal story, for instance, can instantly humanize you and invite the other person to do the same. If someone mentions they're feeling overwhelmed, instead of a generic, "That's tough," you might say, "I've been there. Last year I was juggling so many things that I almost burned out. Here's how I managed to pull through." This kind of response shows empathy and relatability while also opening the door for a more meaningful dialogue. Compliments are another powerful tool for emotional connection, but they must be genuine and specific. Instead of saying, "You're great at what you do," try something like, "I admire how you approach challenges with such creativity and focus. It's inspiring to watch." A compliment like this not only acknowledges their strengths, but also shows that you've been paying attention. It signals that you see them not just in a superficial way, but in a way that values who they are and what they bring to the table. Listening is equally crucial, but it's not just about hearing the words. It's about reading between the lines. Pay attention to their tone, their pauses, and the emotions behind their words. If someone is excited, amplify that excitement by sharing in their joy. If they're hesitant or uncertain, offer reassurance or ask a thoughtful question that helps them feel safe to open up. Emotional connection thrives when people feel understood, so make it your mission to truly see and hear them. Humor can also be a gateway to emotional connection, as long as it's used appropriately. A lighthearted joke or a shared laugh can instantly break down walls and create a sense of camaraderie. Humor reminds people that life doesn't always have to be serious, and it's a great way to foster a sense of ease and warmth in your interactions. Ultimately, creating emotional connection requires presence. It's about being fully engaged in the moment, free from distractions, and genuinely invested in the other person. When you approach every interaction with the intention to connect emotionally, you transcend the ordinary. Your words become more than just words. They become an experience, a memory, a spark that lingers long after the conversation ends. In a world that often feels disconnected, emotional connection is a rare and precious gift. By making it the foundation of your communication, you don't just build relationships, you create lasting impact. People will walk away not just liking you, but feeling better because of you. And that's the ultimate power of connection. In a world where most interactions follow predictable patterns, the ability to stand out is a superpower. The truth is, people operate on autopilot more than they realize. They send the same "hi, how are you" messages, have the same surface level conversations, and repeat the same scripts without questioning whether they're truly connecting. If you want to make an impact, you must disrupt that routine and inject something unexpected, fresh, and different into the interaction. If you want to create impact, you must disrupt that routine and inject something unexpected, fresh, and different into the interaction. Being different doesn't mean being loud or outrageous. It means being thoughtful and intentional in how you communicate. Start by considering the experience you want to create for the other person. If they're used to receiving bland, generic messages, imagine how refreshing it would be for them to encounter someone who takes a creative or personalized approach. So, for example, instead of starting with a question they've heard 1,000 times, you might open with a statement that piques their curiosity. I just read something that made me think of you. It's fascinating, and I'd love to get your thoughts. That's not just a message, it's an invitation to engage on a deeper level. The key to standing out is understanding what makes you unique and leaning into it. Maybe you have a knack for humor. Use it to add a playful tone to your conversations. Perhaps you're great at noticing details. Mention something specific about the person or their interests that shows you've been paying attention. For instance, if you know they're passionate about a particular hobby or project, bring it up in a way that highlights your interest in their world. I saw this article about, and immediately thought of you. Have you seen it yet? Another way to break the mold is by changing the medium of communication. Instead of sending a text, consider recording a short voice note or even a video message. The sound of your voice or the sight of your face adds a layer of connection that text alone can't replicate. These small, thoughtful gestures show that you're willing to go the extra mile, and they leave a lasting impression. The art of being different also involves taking risks. Sometimes you'll experiment with a new approach, and it might not land the way you hoped. That's okay. It's part of the process. What matters is your willingness to step out of your comfort zone and try something new. People respect and remember those who have the courage to be authentic, even if it means being a little unconventional. By breaking away from the ordinary, you create an experience that's not easily forgotten. You become the person who makes conversations enjoyable, engaging, and meaningful. And the beauty of this approach is that it's not about impressing others with grand gestures. It's about being intentional, creative, and genuine. When you master the art of being different, you don't just get people's attention, you earn their admiration and loyalty. In a crowded world, that's the ultimate advantage. Leading with value is one of the most transformative principles you can bring into your communication. It shifts the dynamic entirely because instead of starting with pleasantries or small talk, you're showing up as someone who contributes meaningfully right from the start. In a world where most conversations begin with a vague, "Hi, how are you?" or a generic greeting, leading with value makes you memorable and positions you as someone who brings something to the table. At its core, offering value means focusing on what you can give rather than what you can get. It's about thinking, how can I make this person's life a little easier, better, or more interesting through this interaction? The beauty of this mindset is that value doesn't have to be grand or complicated. It can be as simple as sharing a piece of advice, a useful resource, or an interesting perspective. For instance, if you know someone is working on a project, you could send them an article, video, or tool that aligns with their goals, saying, "I thought this might help with what you're working on." That small gesture demonstrates thoughtfulness and care, which instantly elevates the quality of your interaction. Offering value also creates a sense of reciprocity. When you give first, you naturally inspire others to give back. This doesn't mean you're being manipulative. Rather, it's about creating a relationship built on mutual benefit and respect. People are naturally drawn to those who add value to their lives. And when you make it a habit, you become someone they look forward to hearing from. Not out of obligation, but because they associate you with growth, solutions, and positivity. Another aspect of leading with value is solving problems. If you notice someone is struggling with something or looking for a solution, step in with an idea, suggestion, or connection. For example, if a friend is trying to learn a new skill, you could recommend an online course or podcast that has helped you in the past. Or if a colleague mentions a challenge at work, you might say, "Here's something that worked for me in a similar situation. Maybe it could help you too." And these small acts of service build trust and show that you're invested in their success. Sometimes value comes in the form of encouragement or insight. Maybe someone you know is feeling stuck or uninspired. Instead of asking how they are, you could share an uplifting quote, a story of resilience, or even a simple, "I believe in you, and I know you'll figure this out." Emotional support is one of the most underrated forms of value because it meets people where they are and gives them the confidence to move forward. Ultimately, leading with value is about adopting a mindset of contribution. It's about thinking creatively, listening intently, and looking for opportunities to make a positive impact. When you approach conversations this way, you transform ordinary interactions into powerful exchanges that leave people better than they were before. And in doing so, you position yourself not just as someone they talk to, but as someone they trust, respect, and want to keep in their circle. Magnetic energy is the invisible force that draws people to you, making them want to engage, collaborate, and stay connected. It's not about what you say, as much as how you say it and the vibe you bring into every interaction. This energy has the power to transform ordinary conversations into extraordinary experiences, leaving people feeling uplifted and inspired long after the exchange is over. When you cultivate magnetic energy, you become someone people are naturally drawn to because your presence alone adds value to their day. At its essence, magnetic energy is rooted in authenticity. People are highly attuned to whether someone is genuine or simply going through the motions. When your words, tone, and body language align with who you truly are, you exude confidence and warmth. This authenticity doesn't require perfection, it simply requires being real. Whether you're excited, curious, or even vulnerable, showing up as your true self creates an atmosphere of trust and connection. Others feel safe to let down their own guards and engage with you on a deeper level. Another key to building magnetic energy is enthusiasm. Passion is contagious. And when you speak with excitement and energy, it inspires others to match that level of engagement. Imagine someone sharing an idea or telling a story in a monotone voice. No matter how interesting the content, the lack of energy would make it fall flat. Now picture the same idea shared with enthusiasm, humor, and a sense of joy. The difference is night and day. People don't just listen to what you're saying, they feel the emotion behind it. When you communicate with enthusiasm, you light up the room, and others are drawn to that positivity, like moths to a flame. Magnetic energy also comes from being fully present. In today's world of constant distractions, giving someone your undivided attention is a rare and powerful gift. When you truly listen, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but actively engaging with what the other person is saying, you create a connection that feels meaningful and genuine. Your presence shows that you value their time and thoughts, which fosters respect and trust. Just after 11 years, we landed an amazing contract with Emerson Publishing. 2 years later, we create a connection that feels meaningful and genuine. This level of attentiveness naturally makes you more charismatic because it's clear you're invested in the moment and the person in front of you. Empathy plays a crucial role as well. When you approach conversations with an understanding of the other person's feelings, needs, and perspectives, you create a sense of alignment. Empathy doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they say. It means you're willing to see the world through their eyes. This creates a bond that makes people feel seen, heard, and valued. When someone feels that kind of connection, they're naturally drawn to you. Finally, magnetic energy is amplified by a sense of purpose. When your words and actions are guided by a clear sense of intention, whether it's to inspire, support, or uplift, you bring depth and meaning to every interaction. People can feel the difference between someone who is simply passing time and someone who is driven by a desire to make an impact. That sense of purpose makes you unforgettable. And so magnetic energy isn't something you're born with, it's something you cultivate. By showing up authentically, sharing your enthusiasm, being present, practicing empathy, and living with purpose, you become a source of inspiration and positivity. And in doing so, you create connections that are not just strong, but truly transformational. In a world saturated with noise and shallow connections, the way you communicate can set you apart and make you unforgettable. The key is to approach every interaction with intention, curiosity, and authenticity. When you stop relying on the generic and predictable and instead lead with value, spark curiosity, and create emotional connections, you step into a different realm of communication. One where your words resonate deeply and your presence leaves a lasting impact. Trust and dare to swing for the fences. The more you expose vulnerability, the more you're vulnerable, and the more you're in a position leaves a lasting impact. Remember, it's not about being flashy or trying too hard. It's about showing up as your best, most genuine self. Whether you're asking questions that ignite curiosity, sharing insights that add value, or simply bringing magnetic energy to a conversation, the goal is to make every interaction meaningful. People will always remember how you made them feel, And when you lead with thoughtfulness and intention, you inspire them to see you as someone worth knowing and engaging with. So stop sending empty, forgettable messages. Speak with purpose, connect with heart, and watch as people are drawn to you in ways you never imagined. This isn't just about communication. It's about building relationships, inspiring trust, and creating a ripple effect of positivity in every conversation. Start today, and you'll not only stand out, but you'll also transform the way people experience and respond to you.